Today we are diving into the latest Dawn of War 4 trailer, and this one is absolutely packed with information, not just about units, but also about systems and mechanics, quietly shaping how the game may actually play. Before we do break down the factions and their rosters, let's start with what the trailer is already telling us through the user interface, the economy, and the overall presentation. One of the most interesting aspects of this trailer is how much it reveals purely through the interface. In some of the shots, we clearly see that the player has captured 2 requisition points, yet the requisition income displayed at the top of the screen sits at 0. In a traditional Dawn of War style economy, that wouldn't make sense at all. Captured points should always be generating income. However, this lines up extremely well with the idea that the game may be using an upkeep system. In an upkeep-based economy, every unit you field consumes part of your income. As your army grows, your income shrinks, potentially all the way down to 0. That means you can't simply hold 1 or 2 points and still sustain a massive force. To maintain a large army, you either need wider map control, or you accept that your economy is being fully consumed just to keep that army operational. If this is the case, it would be a very deliberate design choice, one aimed at preventing runaway snowballing and forcing more meaningful strategic trade-offs between army size and territory control. That said, I do want to pause here a little moment and give a more personal take, because upkeep systems are one of those RTS mechanics that people tend to feel pretty strongly about. I have to say, historically, I've never really been a huge fan of upkeep systems. Part of the appeal of real-time strategy games has always been the power of building huge armies, brutal, unstoppable armies, and then letting them clash in massive chaotic battles. Upkeep systems can sometimes feel as though the game is putting a hard cap on that potential, essentially telling you that you are not allowed to go any further even when you want to. On the flip side though, I do also understand why developers do use upkeep systems, because when it is tuned well, it can stop snowballing, reward map control, and also force smarter decisions about what you build instead of just how much you build. It can add some tension as well as some pacing to the mid and late games, instead of everything devolving into pure unit spam. So honestly, I am actually kind of on the fence. This feels like one of those situations where you just can't judge the system properly from a trailer or 2. It's probably very much one of those situations where you kind of just have to play it and try it out. If it becomes too restrictive, it could hurt the scale and the spectacle, but if it's balanced well, it could actually make battles more tactical and more satisfying overall. I am genuinely curious where people land on this. Do you guys like upkeep systems because it keeps games tight and strategic, or do you hate anything that stops you from building huge, terrifying armies? Let me know in the comment section below. Now, there's also a notably visible detail in the trailer. In several shots, the minimap appears fully revealed, with no visible fog of war. In most RTS games, especially ones in the Dawn of War lineage, fog of war is fundamental, so this of course immediately stands out. That being said, it's important to be careful here, because this is just trailer footage. There are several possible explanations. Fog of war could be disabled for a presentation, or a cinematic camera tool may simply be showing the entire battlefield at once. Without extended, uninterrupted gameplay footage, this remains an open question rather than a confirmed design change. Finally, the user interface itself hints at faction identity. Early in the trailer, we see additional ability icons in the bottom right that do not look universal. These are very likely Dark Angel's specific abilities, suggesting that chapter identity is expressed mechanically, not just cosmetically. Now, with that context established, let's actually move on to some of the units themselves. The Space Marines dominate much of the trailer, and they actually reveal a surprising amount of roster depth rooted firmly in Warhammer lore. We first get a clear look at the Ravenwing. They are essentially Dark Angels' elite fast attack formation, but what's very interesting here is how familiar they already look in gameplay terms. Because of course, we have seen the Outriders fielded by the Bloodravens in previous trailers. They are of course visually and functionally the equivalent to the Dark Angels' Ravenwing. From what the trailer shows, it's not clear that there is any mechanical difference beyond chapter identity, and I imagine that the Ravenwing will seemingly fill the same battle role. Fast-moving Primaris bikers used for rapid response, flanking, and pressure. Whether they have unique abilities or chapter-specific bonuses compared to the Bloodraven Outriders isn't yet made explicit, but for now, this looks less like a brand new unit type and more like a chapter-specific variant of an existing role, which would still make sense from a design standpoint. In the trailer, we also see the appearance of Eliminators. Now these are Primaris Space Marines trained for covert deployment and long-range assassination, specializing in removing enemy officers, artillery crews, and key specialists before a battle fully unfolds. Their inclusion signals that stealth, positioning, and precision fire are once again meaningful mechanics for Space Marines. Now whilst these guys are kitted out in their Dark Angel suits, considering that the Bloodravens are the sub-faction traditionally associated with finesse and stealth, I fully expect Eliminators to be part of their roster as well. The developers have already mentioned that the Bloodravens and the Dark Angels will share much of the same unit lineup, which reinforces that idea. We also get to see the Bladeguard Veterans in their Dark Angel suits, and in Warhammer lore, these units are heavily armoured Primaris warriors, equipped with master-crafted power swords and storm shields. They represent the knightly ideal of the Space Marines, advancing steadily under fire, absorbing immense punishment, and dominating close-quarters combat. They are commonly used as shock troops and objective anchors. What is particularly unusual in Dawn of War, however, is that the Bladeguard appear to have a ranged option as well. In several shots of the latest trailer, we see them carrying ranged weapons, yet they still retain the sword icon above their models. The game may simply keep the sword icon regardless of which weapon they are currently using. I'm not fully sure on this one, so I would like to hear your thoughts in the comments section below. Now with this next detail, careful observation becomes crucial. In several shots, Intercessor unit portraits clearly show an additional bar layered over their normal health. Yet these units do not display veterancy chevrons. Intercessors are of course the backbone of Space Marine forces, flexible, disciplined line infantry designed to hold ground and apply consistent pressure. Seeing them gain an extra defensive layer without veterancy indicators strongly suggests that shields and veterancy are two separate systems. One interpretation is that shields represent an early progression level, whilst veterancy represents a second layer of progression earned through combat. The fact that we see units with shields but no veterancy, and not the other way around, could imply that shields come first. Another possibility is that shields are ability driven. Earlier in the trailer, we see Dark Angel's abilities represented by icons, including one with a shield symbol. Activating that ability could potentially grant nearby intercessors with a temporary shield, visually represented as a second health bar. Now heavy armor does generally take stage in this trailer, because around 19 seconds in, we see grav tanks advancing. But they aren't all the same vehicles. One of these is the Repulsor Executioner, which is a different unit entirely from the standard Repulsor, because in Warhammer lore, the Repulsor Executioner is a dedicated heavy battle tank rather than a transport, sacrificing troop capacity for significantly heavier firepower, including either a heavy laser destroyer or a macro plasma incinerator. Alongside it, we also see the Gladiator, While both vehicles are built on similar Primaris grav tank technology, they serve very different battlefield purposes. The Gladiator is a modular combat platform with variants optimized for anti-infantry or anti-armor roles. The key giveaway here isn't just with the unit visuals, it's also the unit icons, which clearly indicate distinct battlefield roles. What's even more impressive is that the trailer confirms multiple weapon variants of the Repulsor Executioner. In this trailer, we got to see the plasma-equipped version, while a previous trailer showed the laser variant. In Warhammer lore, that distinction of course matters. Plasma versions excel at deleting elite infantry, while the laser variant is designed for long-range anti-tank warfare. Seeing both across trailers strongly suggests real loadout choice, not just cosmetic swapping. Now, the trailer also shows that not all walkers are the same. We see the Redemptor Dreadnought, a heavily armoured frontline war engine piloted by a mortally wounded Space Marine built for sustained combat and soaking up punishment. Alongside it is the Invicta Tactical Warsuit, piloted by a living Marine and designed for forward deployment and aggressive strikes. It's lighter, more mobile, and better suited to early pressure and disruption rather than anchoring a battle line. Cyrus himself reinforces this theme of adaptability because across different shots, he's clearly carrying different weapons, suggesting that heroes can equip different war gear and shift battlefield roles. Now, before we take a look at the Necrons, I would like to say a big thank you for everyone supporting the channel. If you've been enjoying these videos, and this one in particular, make sure you give the video a thumbs up, and of course, make sure you are subscribed if you want to catch the next update for Dawn of War 4. But with that said, let's talk about the Necrons. In the most recent trailer, we get our first look at the Canoptic Wraiths. They are semi-sentient constructs that phase in and out of reality, ignoring terrain and striking from impossible angles. Now, we don't actually see too much from combat perspectives of them, so this is one unit that we'll just have to revisit once more gameplay footage is shown. There is also a very subtle detail for the Necrons that could be easy to miss, because in several shots, we can see Necron units lying prone on the battlefield. These are very likely death marks. They are Necron assassins who specialize in long-term ambushes. They remain motionless for extended periods of time before striking with synaptic disintegrators designed to erase matter at a molecular level. Their posture fits this role perfectly and suggests that Necrons will have true infiltration as well as ambush mechanics. The Canoptic Doomstalker also does make an appearance, and this unit is a mobile weapons platform built around a Doomsday Blaster. It's supposed to be most lethal when stationary, and they are also programmed to react violently if nearby commanders fall, which could actually translate into some interesting reactive behavior in-game. Now, of course, we don't have any confirmation that they will take up such abilities, but it would be cool if they did. Alongside it, we see the Tri-Arc Stalker, an aggressive assault walker used to spearhead attacks and tear through enemy armor with heavy Gauss weaponry or heat rays. Backing these guys up are the Locust Heavy Destroyers, members of the Destroyer cult obsessed with annihilation and known for powerful anti-armor fire. Though interestingly, in the trailer, they actually kinda seem to struggle against the Dreadnought, not really doing too much damage to it. Finally, we also see what appears to be the Gauss Pylon, a powerful Necron defensive construct capable of anchoring fortified positions with devastating long-range fire. Now, there is another Necron unit that we can spot in the trailers, certainly worth talking about here, and it's called the Lich Guard. They are elite bodyguards of Necron nobility. They are not mass-produced warriors like Necron warriors or Immortals. These are hand-picked, heavy augmented elites whose sole purpose is to protect high-ranking Necron overlords. and enforce their will on the battlefield. They are among the most disciplined and resilient infantry units that the Necrons can field. So taken together, these units show that Necrons aren't just a slow, unstoppable wall of metal. Whilst they have that ability in them, they appear to also combine stealth, ambush, extreme ranged lethality, and also terrifying constructs, forcing opponents to deal with threats from multiple angles. So overall, with an economy possibly shaped by upkeep, faction-specific abilities, shields and veterancy as distinct systems, stealth units lying in wait, distinct tank variants, different mech classes, and flexible hero war gear, this trailer isn't just showing off cool units. It's actually communicating some very deliberate design philosophies in Dawn of War 4. It looks like Dawn of War 4 is returning to its roots while embracing depth, clarity, and authenticity. And if this much information is visible in just short snippets of footage, the full game is likely to have a lot of depth. With that said, if you enjoyed this breakdown, make sure that you are subscribed for further videos just like this. Let me know in the comment section below where you land on upkeep systems, love them, hate them, or somewhere in between, and which unit have you seen today that you'd like to get your hands on the most. A special shout out to the folks who helped me make this video, as well as of course the YouTube channel members and the Twitch subscribers. To all of you fantastic viewers, take care and see you next time.